What interested you in being part of this exhibition?
What interested me?
Yes.
Well, first when Daphne asked that I would be a part of it and said who the other two artists were, Amalia Amaki and Beverly Buchanan, I was excited because I love both of their works. I think there's a definite connection between all three of us. And then you added the quilting, the quilt by African American women, and that I thought that would be the perfect complement. So I was more excited to be included in the show and in this Cameron Museum, Art Museum showing. I knew the work would be presented really well, and I see it is. I love the way how it's displayed with all of the wall space around it. Is such a luxury to see it, almost like being in the Rothko Chapel. So I feel so honored to be included with these fabulous artists and quilters.
Can you tell us a little bit about what influences your artwork?
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm building my personal vocabulary, visual vocabulary. So starting off, being from the Bahamas, I was born and raised in the Bahamas, and I moved to the South, Savannah. I went to SCAD, and I finished my graduate degree at Georgia State University and got married and stayed. So I have influences from being in the Caribbean as well as being in the South, and I always look at my ancestral background in Africa, preferably West Africa. And so those influences show up in the work in subtle ways. It's like I'm taking fragments of all of those ancestral as well as like present influences that I have in the work through fragments. And it's in a way a process of building a visual comfort, just like a quilt would be comfortable to be under. It's just to kind of affirm who I am, what my foundation is. My mother was a seamstress, and she died in childbirth with me. So the idea of sewing and dissecting clothing is like looking back. And there's a piece that's called the Sankofa, from the Sankofa series, which is a Dinkra symbol, meaning to go back and fetch it or to learn from your past. I use that as a symbol to build on. And now I'm using things that are related more to where we are now, as far as using eyes with relationships and mirrors to bring the viewer into the work. So it's a range. I started off more dwelling in the past, and I'm focusing more on the present, projecting into the future. And I see my personal story of my mother as seamstress as a microscopic view of just any diasporan person looking at their ancestral background to build on with their quilting. So I see the quilt as many seamstresses coming together to work together to make something that's bigger, that represents a large group of people beyond me and my dress. So it's like the dress will become a part of the quilt eventually. So like the white dress is for the beginning of the journey, and it will eventually become stained with the experiences of life and then become a part of the quilt. And what I'm doing is looking back by dissecting the clothes and adding them as the paint for the canvases. I have a background in painting, so that is commenting on that as well. It's almost like they become pixelated, abstract expressionistic paintings where I'm thinking more three-dimensionally with the way I approach the painting. It's still a painting, it's just three-dimensional and using materials that in a symbolic way.
Right, and so that kind of explains your choice in material with the fabric and then the found objects and the paint.
Yeah, and floral fabrics bring together both of my moms. My aunt raised me. I didn't find out about my mother's death until I was 12. So I see her as this mystery that I don't know about. So that's why I leave the quilt kind of patchy, so to represent the holes and things that I don't know. But it's still held together, and there's still a lot that I do know. So I'm acknowledging the things that I don't know, the mystery, as well as with the frames. The picture frames are about capturing memory and the potential and loss of memory. And, you know, we always use it to celebrate things that are special. So I like to use that as well. And I like the button. The button is a personal symbol as well, because it's about trying to make a connection, and it's related to sewing. So that's, I like the ones with 2 holes in it, because it's like eyes. And it's like if you acknowledge the eyes being there, they're there. Just like if you want to acknowledge your ancestral background and its influences and stuff, it could be there. A lot of people don't really want to focus on that, you know, but I think it's important. And just all the make-do ways of attaching things is kind of connected to. I always picture my Grammy and how she, in her home in the Bahamas, and how she just used a nail to hold the fence closed. And it had this patina around it. It was just always so beautiful. I like the way how things have a patina from just being loved and used, and I just like to see that history in the objects that I use as well.